All right, you BC314 suckers. Bought one of these nightmares. Looking for any kind of information you can find. All right, now, you might notice there's a missing tooth. And my chair is hitting the tripod. I need to sit down for this operation. All right, right in here, there would be this guy. Okay? Now, you need to take these out. And how you do that is you find these things. All right? There's two per capacitor. One of them holds two capacitors in. But in other words, you have to get these out, and they're quarter 20. No, quarter in, not quarter 20. A 1/4 nut driver, 1/4 nut driver. All right. Once you get those out, now the trick to get your nut driver in position to hold it is I'm not standing up right now, but in other words, you have to bend this terminal out where it's got a lug that goes to the ground. You bend this terminal out a little bit and it lets you get. I'm sitting down. See, it's almost like magic when you do get it in there. But it has to go in there and hold the nut while you unscrew this piece on the outside here. And once you do that, then you can bend the capacitor back a little bit and get one of your 1/4 open-end wrenches up in there, and to get each terminal off. Now, this has terminal on there. All right, am I in this frame? So by doing it that way, each wire connection is actually on a terminal, and each one of those terminals is going to need a capacitor. Now, I told you I've worked on many radios before, and I've never seen an oil-filled capacitor go bad, and I've never seen every silver mica capacitor go bad in a radio before. But I keep saying the radios are 70 years old. They're not. They're 80 years old in most cases. So I can show you now that I know that these caps are actually bad. Now we'll put one lead on the ground. Hopefully I'm in the frame. Hold on. One lead on the frame and one lead on one of the three capacitors. All right. All right, here we go. All right, I think you can see it. It's bad. Now, even if you put the cap checker between two capacitors, all right, they're both leaky to ground together. So every capacitor in this radio is probably bad, one way or it's going to go bad. And remember, this radio is supposed to be a virgin, new old stock. So all these parts have just gone bad from it sitting. All right. So what I want to do is I don't want to open this up and recap it or restuff it. I did that on the command radios, and I'm going to be honest with you. That was beeswax. This is oil. But doing it this way, leaving those three lugs on, all you need is to put, you buy one of those ground lugs, or you use the same hole, put a ground there, a bolt and a nut with a lug, and then put your three capacitors, one from each one of those. They'd be ring tongs, I guess they call them. Here they are. There they are. So in other words, there'll be three capacitors, and I believe they're 0.1s. So you have to go do more research on, make sure all these capacitors, if I'm in the frame here, are all 0.1s. Double check. But like I said, in order to get it out, you're going to have to bend this back a little bit. Where you'll see, when you look in from here, from behind here, you'll see a ground lug that's underneath this bolt, and it's got a nut. And you just bend it out a little bit, and that'll allow you to get your quarter quarter-inch nut driver down in there. And then after you get all those posts, these secure posts, then what you do is you can tilt the capacitor back. It'll look like this when it tilts back, like that. You see how you can see those rings? You tilt it back, and then you get in here with your quarter and undo them and save them, because they're actually terminals and there's more than one wire on them. I didn't see anybody do this operation on the YouTube or that I looked through them. I did see the one guy. He takes a hand jigsaw and he cuts the caps open, and I think he restuffs them. At some point I was like, there's got to be a better way. But it took me constantly looking in there. And I want to tell you, this LED light I got, LED lights produce extremely dark shadows. What that means is if you aim the LED light on a space, there's a shadow behind or off to the side, and you no matter how you move that light, you're still going to have a dark shadow, because LED light doesn't disperse like incandescent light does. Go read up on it. And right away when I get the light, I'm like, why is the shadow so dark? Or why is, I get the part itself is glowing with the light, and then right next to it's dark. And I thought about it. I'm like, my eyes are going. I know I'm getting cataracts and the whole thing. I'm old. And I went and read just before, and it says that LED lighting produces really dark shadows. So that's one of the reasons. But, I did cut a wire somewhere around here, maybe two other ones. I was trying to take a sample of the three to see if they're all going to be bad. But, other people, they tell you got to redo these caps. And the cap has the capacitor number on it, where it is, and then it's also got the resistor number. So you might want to transfer that information over onto this panel, just so you lose your mind. But I'm not into doing a restoration, because even in a museum, a lot of these radios are not opened up. They show it on the outside, and people gawk at it for a couple minutes and move on. And there are people that, including myself, when they rebuilt the radio, they don't drill extra holes in the radio. They don't want a radio with extra holes. And I do that. But with this radio, I really have very little respect for this radio. Basically because it does the AM broadcast band, but not the top of the band. It doesn't do from 1500 up. The other thing, the other bands are long wave. One of the bands is actually the bottom end of AM broadcast. And the radio is working, but it's not sensitive enough. And I'm also coming out with my speaker. I'm coming out of the earphone jack into a transformer to my speaker. I don't have a lot of volume, but there is an amplifier after that, but it has that wacky plug I told you about. The plug has voltage on it, and the person said that was for the speaker's magnetic coil, but it looks like it goes somehow up to the panel lights. So I'm thinking at some point the person can push a button on the speaker or a switch and make the radio light up. I don't know. You got to do the reading. You got to find the real answer. But when you're on the internet and you're on different groups, people make stuff up, and that's what made it harder for me. And many people said these oil caps are bad. I never found one, and they're really bad. I mean, an oil cap, you could guarantee an oil-filled capacitor would be good years ago, but you can't anymore. Like the silver micas, once in a while you'd find one in an IF can that was bad. That Hellcrafters SX42, every capacitor in that radio was bad. And the other thing too is on a BC348, every freaking one of those capacitors that are 0.1s, 0.01s, what was the name of it? Something, I can't see the name on it. These crappy things. I can't see that. See, it sucks when you get older. Every time you go to do something you can't see, you get your light out. You have to get your glasses, and it makes working on the radio a lot harder when you get older. And it's funny, but what does this thing say now? See, I found the name the other day, like 123. Mica mold. Yeah, these are famous for being bad. But now we can add this. All right. And if you put an ohm meter on this, I don't think it'll show bad. It only shows bad under voltage. I think that's it. That's it for now. Like I said, if when I find something that I didn't know, I'm going to show you. That's how I operate. And I figured out how to get this out of here. Other people have other means, but I'm telling you, you just bend this back. At each one of these in spots, you'll see a ground lug or a mounting lug to ground, and that's the point. You get your pliers on there. You know, put your pliers on there, and you work it out very gently. You work it a little bit out, just enough so you can get your nut driver in there. This, I kept looking at this and I'm like, I don't want to put the radio away. I don't want to give up. But I'm at the midpoint. Now, I want to explain to you, with all projects, you're all excited. You get the radio. You start on it. You might even order the capacitors you need. Then you start working on the radio. And there comes a point where you're sorry you bought the radio. You're really annoyed that you're working on it. You might want to do something else. And that's the point where I walk away for a few hours and I think about it. And then I end up going back into it. Like when I saw one of these, I cut off a lead on one of these and saw it was bad. I was like, that means I need 9, there's 3 in each, 9.1s. Now I actually have them. And here they are here. All right. So once I knew I had to, okay, I don't have to order them. Because I've been going through hell with whenever I order something, I have a problem getting it. It doesn't show up. I got the movie I ordered on eBay. The guy's a scam artist. But anyway, that happened. A pair of sneakers from Amazon. After 30 days, they said they couldn't fill the order. And then so many things have been breaking in the house, and I keep fixing them. And rain was finally coming, but the gutters were really clogged with leaves. And I got my tool out. I use this gutter sense. It's on the end of a painter pole. You pull a rope, it's got a pair of hands up there that close. And I cleaned the gutters one day, and then I waited till the next day to go out there again because I got a rotator cuff problem. I'm out there, the fishing line let loose on the thing. It uses fishing line to pull the 2 hands in. And I had ordered the line. That was a nightmare. I finally got the fishing line at the right diameter. But I was able to finish up. And then I come in and I said, let me fix that. So I'm cooking. And I'm fixing the gutter sense. And all of a sudden I'm like, I look over out of the corner of my eye, I see the oven's real bright. I said, oh, I must have put the light on. No, I went to the third element now. This is going to be the third element that went bad in 15 years. So I go online to order the element, and the company that sold me the last 2 doesn't carry it anymore. So I went on Amazon, and it won't be until the 25th or some ridiculous amount. Now, it might come sooner, but I'm just hoping that at the end of the 25th, they don't send me, we can't supply it's a heating element, a bake element, they call it. But I have so many things breaking, and I'm repairing. And then I'm saying to myself, you know, if I had a light that had some incandescence in it, I could see better. And then I'm saying to myself, how did they build this thing? Now, what I'll probably do is I'll probably take a piece of perf board and cut it and fit it in here, put my capacitors on that, and then bring wires up from these terminals. I'll cut the terminal just back behind the ring, and I'll probably put wire on it first, then cut the ring off, and then put some shrink tubing down in there and bring it up to each capacitor that'll be on a piece of perf board. I have to think about this now, but I'm not restoring this thing back to what do you call it, museum quality. I've never, on all the online things that I looked, museums, I've never seen the radio open. Now, on certain websites, the guy does show you inside. He shows you, he's redone the resistors, but he doesn't tell you how, or he doesn't tell you what to expect. That's what this video was about. You know, that the terminals on the capacitors, they're bolts. The thing they're held in with are these wacky things. And there's a nut on the backside. Oh, I want to tell you about the nut. It's a safety nut. My fingernails are long. It's just the nut that's got the plastic insert. That you want to know. That's I was like, why am I having so much trouble holding that with a pair of pliers? You know, it was like it. I'm looking at it. You can't see with that light. This LED light. Here it is here. This LED light is really cool, but it produces really dark shadows. So when you're looking at this looks like a bead of solder. I'm like, I hope they didn't solder the nut to the threaded rod. But it all worked out. You know now what I know. I think that's it. All right, that's it. You're a sucker for buying a BC314.